To pay for my terminally ill girlfriend's treatment, I deliver food during the day and run a street barbecue stall at night just to save up for her surgery fee as soon as possible. But when over a dozen Rolls-Royce cars parked outside my door, I found out she's the illegitimate daughter of a Beijing billionaire family. She took everything she could carry, including my flatmate, and left only me behind. A reporter asked Xia Jinian, "What is this man standing in front of you to you?" She replied coldly, "Just a caregiver who looked after me these days." Later, she became the it girl everyone in Gangcheng looked up to, while I turned around and married her biggest rival. But on our wedding night, Xia Jinian sent people to kidnap me. She grabbed my collar and asked coldly, "Why did you marry that ugly freak? Because she never treats me like a caregiver?" Xia Jinian sneered. "Is that all a grown man like you is after?" I nodded, "Exactly. That's all I want." The day the Xia family came to pick up Xia Jinian, 12 Rolls-Royce cars were lined up. In the alley I always take home. Reporters carrying all kinds of cameras surrounded the entire apartment building completely. I couldn't push my barbecue stall cart in after closing, so I had to go on foot. My neighbor Chen Wei saw me, slung an arm around my shoulder warmly and said, "Jing Chen, you hit the jackpot, man. Your girlfriend Jinian is actually the Xia family's little princess. Old Mr. Xia sent people to pick her up. You can go with her and live a good life now." While I was still in shock, Xia Jinian was surrounded by a big crowd and walked down the stairs. I had never seen Xia Jinian like this before, wearing the latest designer couture dress of the season, with a slim and graceful figure and noble temperament. Just like the perfect rich girl in a romance drama, next to her was my flatmate Jiboda. When Xia Jinian looked at me, her gaze was different from before, filled with the disdain of someone in a higher position. A sharp-eyed reporter asked her, "Miss Xia, what is your relationship with the man in front of you?" Xia Jinian looked away from me and answered coldly, "Just a caregiver who waited on me these days." All the neighbors gasped in shock because they often saw me buying things for Xia Jinian and accompanying her to exercise. Everyone knew she was my girlfriend. All of a sudden, all kinds of sympathetic or mocking looks fell on me and I froze. I looked down at my 10 yuan t-shirt, 20 yuan canvas shoes, and my exhausted look. I did look pretty much like a caregiver, but I had taken care of Xia Jinian for 5 years. Even if she had called me her neighbor, I wouldn't have been so embarrassed. When I walked up to the lead car, Xia Jinian had just opened the car door for Jiboda and let him get in, when she suddenly thought of something and turned to ask me, "You took care of me for so long. Name any wish you have. I can grant it for you as a reward." Chen Wei immediately nudged me. "Hurry up! This is your chance. Ask her to take you with her." But I stood there motionless and just shook the medicine bag in my hand numbly. "Since you don't have terminal cancer, pay me back for all the money I spent on buying medicine for you these past years, will you? Oh, right, plus living expenses, too. That adds up to 598,000 yuan. I took out my phone and tapped on the calculator quickly as I said the number out loud. Everyone around snickered, mocking me for being too short-sighted. With Xia Jinian's net worth, a mere 598,000 yuan is nothing. If I had asked for more, she would have given me 59.8 million yuan. Xia Jinian frowned and looked at me with a complicated expression. But then she told her assistant to give me a check. I glanced at it. It was 600,000 yen, 2,000 more than I asked for. Jiboda held her arm and looked at me, "Jing Chen. Jinian is pretty generous to you. She gave you exactly what you asked for. But you two are from completely different worlds now. I hope you won't say anything bad about Jinian to anyone." Xia Jinian also looked at me and pursed her lips. "I don't want anyone to know you have anything to do with me." I got it. She was disgusted by me, afraid I would tell the media she used to be my girlfriend. "Don't worry, I won't. After all, having such an ungrateful girlfriend is really nothing to brag about." Xia Jinian left, and the crowd of onlookers dispersed too. Only Chen Wei, who was usually my closest friend, stayed behind, furious. "Xingchen, are you stupid? What can you even do with 600,000 yuan? You can't even buy an apartment with that." I looked at him with a pale face, but that's all she owed me. Loving her was my own choice. Taking care of him is also my own call. If I love the wrong person, I'll own up to it. Chen Wei sighed. He poked my head and called me stupid. When I got home, all of Xia Jinian's things had been put away. Jiboda's recklessness hits like a raging storm, leaving a huge mess no one bothers to clean up. I ran the stall all night. I even stopped by the hospital to pick up Xia Jinian's meds early in the morning. Right now, I'm so exhausted I'm collapsed on the couch. I don't even want to move a muscle. Miao Pangua is squatting in front of me, tilting its head and meowing. It's a stray cat I picked up from the roadside. I got up to feed it. I tidied up the house along the way, I set up my stall as usual in the evening. Without Chijinian around, my expenses are actually really low. With my spending habits, 600,000 yuan is enough for me to live on for 20 years. But I want to buy a house. I want a home of my own, among all the stalls on the snack street outside the university town. My barbecue stall does the best business. All those young college students love to come eat at my stall. One day, out of the blue, a fashionably dressed woman came to my stall. "Boss, give me 5 lamb skewers, 10 lamb kidneys." I'm used to serving energetic young college students, so this was the first time I'd served someone who was clearly a wealthy young heiress. I couldn't help but glance at her a few extra times. She had a great figure. Around 1.7 meters tall by my guess. She had pretty features. And a pure, innocent vibe. She was super good looking, with big wavy hair and double eyelids. Her facial structure had the sharp 3D look of a Eurasian mix. Parked at the alley entrance not far away was a silver gray Porsche Cayenne. The Cayenne had its lights on, and a driver was sitting inside. He was probably waiting for her. I've read tons of romance novels, so I immediately pictured that cheesy plot where a rich girl buys skewers for her young boyfriend who's still in college, that kind of third-rate storyline. I grinned widely and said, "Got it. Would you like that for here or to go?" I figured she'd definitely want it to go, so I already took out the takeout boxes.
But the rich girl said she'd eat here.
Then, ignoring my shocked look, she calmly found a seat and sat down. She ordered over 300 yuan worth of food in total. I grilled the food and served her the skewers as I went. When I finished grilling everything, I was sweating all over from exhaustion, and she actually scarfed down every last bit like a tornado. "These taste great. How's your cooking skill?" I froze and pointed at my own nose. "Are you asking me? I'm pretty good at cooking. I even trained professionally as a chef before I started running the stall." As soon as the rich girl heard that, she immediately pulled a business card out of her LV bag and handed it to me. "Are you interested in being my personal chef at my place?" I picked up the business card and took a look. Liu Ruyan, president of HD Group. My expression turned weird. "Ms. Liu, you're not trying to keep me as a sugar baby, are you? The monthly pay is 100,000 yuan. Of course, I know Ms. Liu is definitely not that kind of person. 100,000 yuan, right? I can start work tomorrow. It's not that I wanted to cave in. It's just that the pay was way too good. You have to understand, to buy a house in a place like Yanjing, where every inch of land is worth its weight in gold, with the little money I make from the stall, I'd probably have to work till I die." The next day, I brought the card with me to the Liu family villa for the interview. Liu Ruyan opened the door herself. The young woman was wearing a set of gray sportswear. She'd just come back from a run outside. When she saw me standing in front of the carved iron gate, she unlocked it personally and led me inside. She had her arms crossed, walking briskly ahead of me. I slowed down my steps and followed behind her. The Liu family's mansion is huge. It took 7 or 8 minutes to walk from the gate to the living room. I observed my surroundings as I walked, keeping my guard up around her. What if she's some malicious female scammer? Then, with a loud thud, I bumped into her delicate back. A sweet fragrance drifted into my nose. "I'm sorry, Ms. Liu. I didn't do it on purpose." I panicked, grabbed her shoulder to steady her, and apologized. Liu Ruyan finally lost her patience, turned around, and looked at me. "Do you think I'm some kind of big scammer?" I looked stunned. "Aren't you?" Liu Ruyan laughed angrily. She raised her hand like she was going to hit me, but she held back. She just said, "Stop calling me Ms. Liu all the time. Take a good look and tell me who I am." I leaned in to look, shook my head, and said I didn't recognize her. "Sk, you really don't recognize me. I'm just a guy who sells barbecue. How would I know a rich young lady like you? You're probably the one who got the wrong person." I knew there was no way a good job paying 100K a month would just fall into my lap out of nowhere. Turns out it's a rich girl. She has poor eyesight and mistook me for someone else. Liu Ruyan gnashed her teeth and smiled sinisterly. "Tong Jingchen, if you dare say you don't know me again." When this rich girl loses her temper, icy chill oozes out of her whole body. I shrank my neck subconsciously, stared hard at the woman in front of me, at her pure and pretty face, a face burned by fire, full of scars flashed across my mind. If all the scars on that face were gone, I was startled all of a sudden. I realized who she was almost immediately. Then I turned and ran as fast as I could. The next second, my wrist was grabbed and pulled back hard. My back slammed against the wall. Liu Ruyan's face zoomed in front of my eyes. She trapped me between her body and the wall, looked up at me. "Tong Jingchen, dare you keep running?" I couldn't run even if I wanted to. We were way too close after all. Her breath was almost on my face. I didn't dare move an inch, scared she'd think I was taking advantage of her. Actually, before Xiaojinian, I had another girlfriend. The summer I turned 17, a transfer student joined our class. Her name was Jiang Wan. She had large burn scars all over her face. All my classmates were scared of her and excluded her on purpose. No one even dared sit next to her in the cafeteria. Everyone called her the ugly freak behind her back. Her desk mate asked to switch seats, saying they'd have nightmares looking at her face. The teacher had no choice. Asked if anyone wanted to be her desk mate. Her pale fingers picked at the edge of the desk, betraying how nervous she was inside. When all the other students fell silent and refused to be her desk mate, I raised my hand timidly. The whole class burst out laughing right away. Let Tong Jinshin be her desk mate. Trash kid and ugly freak, that's a perfect match. Back then, the grandma who adopted me was still alive. Grandma supported me by collecting scrap. To help lighten her load, I'd rummage through trash cans after class too, to collect bottles for grandma. My classmates hated me, said I smelled bad. Starting from my first year of high school, I always sat alone at a separate desk. The teacher knew my situation, severely scolded the class for making fun of me. You can stop people from talking out loud, but you can't stop what they think in private. They still picked on me behind my back and gave me the nickname Trash Kid. At that moment, I ignored all their mocking laughter, twisted the corner of my shirt and nervously asked Jiang Wan, classmate Jiang Wan, would you like me to be your desk mate? I was scared she'd also hate how I smelled. But Jiang Wan nodded her head hard. As long as you're not scared, I'd love to. We started spending more and more time together after that. I found out Jiang Wan was super smart. She always got the highest grades in the whole grade. She helped me with my schoolwork. I brought her zongzi that my grandma made by hand. When thugs outside school bothered her, I grabbed a baseball bat and fought them off. When I didn't have money for food, she gave me half of her pocket money. In my final year of high school, she suddenly confessed her feelings to me, asked me to apply to the same college as her. We made a pact to go to Tsinghua and Peking University together. I accepted her confession. I put Tsinghua and Peking University as my top choice. But the night before the application deadline, I was working part-time at a 5-star hotel. I saw Jiang Wan's family come in to eat. Sitting next to Jiang Wan was also a really good-looking boy. When their parents went to the bathroom, I heard them discuss, saying the boy would accompany Jiang Wan abroad for treatment during summer break, and they'd get engaged once she came back. I admit I felt really inferior. I went home and changed my application. Then I texted Jiang Wan saying I fell for someone else and wanted to break up with her. Then I blocked all of Jiang Wan's contact info. No one knew which college I went to, and I never heard from Jiang Wan ever again. If Xie Jinian hadn't come home that day, and reporters hadn't taken photos of you, I probably would have never known you'd come back to Yanjing. Liu Ruyan's voice was full of anger. Is that someone else, Xie Jinian? I never thought the random excuse I made when we broke up. She'd remember it all this time. I jerked my hand away from her hard. That's none of your business, is it? I remember I already broke up with you. Liu Ruyan was furious. Am I some dog you keep? You break up with me whenever you want. As soon as she finished talking, the villa gate opened. A handsome man walked out wearing a crisp white suit. The man was really good looking, like a prince from a fairy tale. I've met him before. He's the guy who dined with Liu Ruyan in the private room back then. I remember both sets of parents wanted them to get engaged at that time. So Liu Ruyan already has a fiancé, and she still tries to pester me. Does everyone think I'm super easy to bully? Tong Jinshin, Sister Yan, you finally found Tong Jinshin. The boy was super excited the second he spoke. Sister Yan, what's this boy's relationship with Liu Ruyan anyway? Liu Ruyan nodded. She pointed at the boy and introduced him, Xia Zixuan, the young master of the Xia family, Tong Jinshin. Before Liu Ruyan could finish speaking, Xia Zixuan immediately hopped over and held my arm. Do you know who Sister Yan's boyfriend is? I was stunned. Liu Ruyan actually openly told everyone that I'm her boyfriend. Xie Jinian was healthy when we were dating. Then she got into a random car accident for no reason. She thought the headmistress of the Xie family wanted to get rid of her, the illegitimate daughter. To make the Xie family's headmistress think this illegitimate daughter posed no threat, she started faking her illness. But I had no idea about that. I even saved up money to take her for checkups, buy medicine and all that stuff. Each time cost thousands of yuan, and I thought, since I agreed to be her boyfriend, I had to take responsibility for her. No matter what illness she had, I would do my best to treat her. But she was faking it the whole time. She was even taken back to the Xia family by old Master Xia. But she told others I was just her caregiver. Thinking of that, I looked at Liu Ruyan, feeling a bit worked up. I was desperate to find out if I had misunderstood her back then. Xia Zixuan leaned close to my ear and whispered, even though Sister Yan likes you, I'm the fiancé the Liu family picked for her. Look at yourself, will you? What makes you think you're good enough for the current Sister Yan? She's not the ugly girl she was back then anymore, but you're still that stinky barbecue vendor. I was stunned and subconsciously pulled my hand out of Xia Zixuan's grip, but Xia Zixuan acted like I had just shoved him hard and fell right on his butt on the floor. The boy immediately looked at me with a confused face and asked pitifully, "Brother Jinchen, why did you push me?" I immediately looked over at Liu Ruyan. Oh no, that plot of being framed by a male schemer in novels is going to happen to me. Just when I thought Liu Ruyan would definitely lose her temper at me for Xia Zixuan's sake. Liu Ruyan instead had a complicated look as she stared at Xia Zixuan on the ground. Do you think I'm blind? Jinchen didn't even touch you at all. Are you seriously putting on an act right now? I warned you before not to come to my house. What are you performing for my boyfriend now? After saying that, she held my hand and walked inside, leaving the stunned Xia Zixuan behind. The Liu family's living room is very big. The servants inside were all doing their own jobs. None of them gave me this unexpected guest a second glance. Liu Ruyan personally poured me a glass of water, then told me to sit down. Jinchen, tell me, that text you sent me back then was fake, right? You didn't fall in love with someone else, did you? Yes and no. That text was fake. But I did fall in love with someone else later. Even though Xia Jinian was the one who chased me, I took care of her for 5 years, so I did have feelings for her after all. I don't deny what I did, even if it turns out I was wrong. Xia Zixuan is Xia Jinian's younger half-brother. Liu Ruyan never got engaged to him. It was all just the wishful thinking of the elders from both families. So I stayed at the Liu family to be Liu Ruyan's personal chef. Liu Ruyan even assigned a separate room for me, right next to hers. I was a bit speechless. It wasn't until I entered the room at night that I realized there wasn't even a quilt on the big bed. I went to find the butler. The butler said with a deadpan face, "Everything regarding you is arranged personally by Miss. It's not under my control. You can go ask Miss about it." I bit the bullet and knocked on Liu Ruyan's door. I heard it come in from inside. I pushed the door open and walked in. Liu Ruyan was nowhere to be seen in the bedroom. The sound of running water was coming from the bathroom. She's taking a shower and still told me to come in. I was just about to say I'd come back later. When the bathroom door opened, Liu Ruyan came out with her wet seaweed-like hair loose, looking all fresh in her pajamas. I couldn't help but take a few extra looks. It's not that I'm a perv. Her figure is just way too good. Her long, pretty legs were exposed under her nightgown. Her waist was so slim you could wrap your hand around it. And she had a really nice chest figure too. The worst part was, she was practically teasing me on purpose, staring right at me like a little fox. I've been alive for over 20 years. How could I resist this kind of temptation? I got a nosebleed right then and there. Liu Ruyan was startled. She hurried over and lifted my chin, made me tilt my head back, pushed me to sit at the foot of her bed, grabbed a few tissues to stuff my nose. Then she said in a disgusted tone, "Why are you such a wimp? Haven't you lived with Xia Jinian for 5 years? You've never seen this before." I answered, feeling super wronged. She never lets me touch her. Funny thing is, Xia Jinian was the one who pursued me first, but she guards me like I'm a thief. Especially after she got her terminal illness. No matter how nice I am to her, she's always cold and snappy to me. Instead, she's extra sweet and attentive to Ji Boda, my flatmate. Ji Boda is really good looking. He works as a salesperson at a 4S shop. There was a period of time when Xia Jinian would always send me messages past midnight, asking me to order milk tea for her. A small cup cost $30. Later, I saw the same milk tea on Ji Boda's WeChat Moments. Only then did I realize Xia Jinian ordered it for him. I was so mad. I closed up my stall and came home to find Xia Jinian curled up in Ji Boda's arms. The two of them were playing games. I pulled Ji Boda away and questioned Xia Jinian. "Why do you run miles away when I even try to touch you? But he can stay this close to you. Who the hell is your boyfriend anyway, him or me?" Xia Jinian covered her nose and said, "You reek of cooking oil fumes every time you come home. It's so gross being near you." Jida also said, "Don't get me wrong, brother Jingchen. Jinian and I are really not what you think. I see her as a female bro. That's why we don't care about small formalities." That morning, I showered for a really long time. I even thought about quitting my stall business entirely. But Xia Jinian texted me, "The medical fee for this month is 7,000 wen. Transfer it to me right now." My heart went cold. I didn't transfer the money. She texted me again. I knew it. "You think I'm a burden? You don't want to pay for my treatment anymore. Fine, I'll just go kill myself, okay?" I rushed to close up my stall. When I hurried back home, I found people from the Jia family had come to pick her up. The reason was simple. The Xia family heir, Xia Mingzhi, got bone cancer and passed away at a young age. Xia Zixuan is a total good-for-nothing who can't do anything right. Not only is she stupid, she also knows absolutely nothing about business management. Xia Jinian became the last hope of the Xia family. Old Master Xia would never let her stay out living a rough life anymore. I thought Liu Ruyan would laugh at me after hearing all this. But instead, she looked at me with eyes full of distress. Then she pulled me into a tight hug. Jingchen, tell me about what you've been through all these years. There's actually not much to talk about these past years. I changed my college application choice and went to Rongcheng, the city farthest from Yanjing. In my sophomore year of college, I met Xia Jinian. Xia Jinian came from a single-parent family. She only got a measly 700 yuan per month for living expenses. All her roommates wore designer clothes and used luxury skincare products. She alone wore the same 80 yuan dress for 2 whole years. I already started working part-time back then. Not only did I not ask my grandma for money, I also sent her the money I saved every month. I was abandoned when I was little. I have no idea who my biological parents are. Grandma was my only family in this world, but she died suddenly. She got hit by a car when she was picking up trash. She was sent to hospital but didn't make it. When I got the news, I felt like the sky had fallen on me. I had made a vow. I would definitely let Grandma live a comfortable life. The sweet old lady also promised me that she would live to be 100 years old. How could she break her promise? It was Xia Jinian who asked for leave to go back with me. She helped me handle all the funeral arrangements for Grandma and encouraged me to pull myself together. The compensation for Grandma's death was 300,000 yuan. All of it was transferred to my bank card. After we got back to school, Xia Jinian started pursuing me. Back then, I thought my life was totally dark and hopeless. I would burst into tears for no reason at all. I went to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor said I had depressive tendencies. Xia Jinian started bringing me meals every day, dragged me out to join club activities, and planned all kinds of surprises for me. She slowly pulled me out of that dark period. So when she confessed her feelings to me, I said yes. But the year we graduated, Xia Jinian got into a car accident. She was sent to hospital for examination. When she came back, she told me she had a terminal illness. I was terrified back then. I was scared she would leave me too, just like Grandma did. So I worked several jobs at the same time, just to save up money for her treatment. I've always dreamed that we could have our own home together. So when her condition improved a little, I took her back to Yanjing with me. It's close to my grandma's grave here. If Xia Jinian's illness can't be cured and she passes away, I'll dig a big pit next to Grandma's grave. Then Xia Jinian and I will lie in it together and cover ourselves with soil on our own. The 3 of us will never be apart. But Xia Jinian didn't die. I still have to work my ass off to make money. Things changed when my flatmate, Jiboda, moved in. Jiboda is different from me. I run a barbecue stall on the snack street. It's super smoky there all the time. I reek of cooking fumes every day. Jiboda is really young, and he knows how to dress well. He knows all kinds of fashion items. Xia Jinian was smitten with him the first time she saw him. She even forgot she was a sick person. She was super eager to help him move his stuff. My next-door neighbor, Chen Wei, always says, just let Xia Jinian find a part-time job. Even if she only makes 2,000 or 3,000 a month, it's better than nothing. Look how tired you are. I shook my head. She's in poor health. Afraid of tiring her out? Chen Wei scoffed. If she's in poor health, why did she help Jiboda move stuff? Last time your barbecue cart broke down halfway. Why didn't she go help you? That's because I didn't call her. Actually, I was lying. I called Xia Jinian more than a dozen times, but she didn't answer any of them. When I got home, I found out it was Jiboda's birthday. He invited a bunch of people over for a party. Xia Jinian was there joining in the fun. She even gave Jiboda a bracelet that cost over 8,000 yuan as a birthday gift. When I was calling Xia Jinian, her phone was left on the sofa. Their friends were teasing Xia Jinian to put the bracelet on Jiboda herself. I only found out all this later when I was scrolling through videos by accident. I asked Xia Jinian, can you come to the night market with me to help collect the cash? Sometimes business is too busy. Some customers take the chance to dine and dash. You don't have to stay for long. Just come during the busiest hours. If you don't want to support me, just say so. Xia Jinian sneered coldly. Who makes a terminally ill patient go to work? Not gonna lie to you. You're really dumb. Can't you collect the money before you grill the skewers? Then no one will skip out on the bill. Once a table of guests got drunk. One of them, a delinquent girl in her 20s, was drunk and suddenly lifted my shirt from behind and touched my back. We ended up at the police station. After she sobered up, the girl insisted that she just wanted to grab a pack of tissues from behind me. She even said mockingly, "Uncle, look at yourself, will you? You're 5 years older than me. Why would I molest you? Just then, Xiaojinian showed up. She looked like she was totally embarrassed by me. She dragged me away immediately. When we got home, Jiboda also said, Brother Jinshin, you probably misunderstood that girl. Normal girls don't lack boyfriends. Besides, you reek of cooking fumes. No regular girl would be into you. Xiaojinian's face turned pale with anger. She shoved me into the bathroom. Go take a shower right now. I could clearly feel the change in Xiaojinian's attitude towards me. She no longer protected me like she did in college. She refused to do anything for me anymore. I watched her change right in front of my eyes, but I couldn't do anything to stop it. All these years after leaving Liu Ruyan, I haven't been living well at all, especially after I found out that Liu Ruyan wasn't engaged to Xia Zixuan. I felt even more like a traitor who brought all this suffering on himself. Liu Ruyan held my face in her hands, made me look into her eyes. That's not right. Tong Jinshin can live well no matter who he leaves. He's never inferior to anyone. Whether it was the Tong Jinshin who helped his grandma pick up trash in high school, or the Tong Jinshin who runs a stall to earn money for his girlfriend's treatment, he's always been just as dazzling. That idiot Xiaojinian doesn't know how lucky she is. She'll realize one day that she lost something incredibly precious. Is that true? It's the first time someone has called me dazzling. And it's coming from my ex-girlfriend, no less. I couldn't help asking, what about you? How did you turn from Jiang Wan into Liu Ruyan? Liu Ruyan smiled. My story is pretty simple. I was young when my parents got divorced. I was awarded to my mom, so I took my mom's last name. Later, they got back together after going round and round. So I moved back to the Liu family and changed my name. My gaze falls on her face. I can't help reaching out to stroke it gently. Wait, what about your face? Liu Ruyan takes out a photo casually. I had plastic surgery to look like my mom when she was young. It's the result of countless surgeries and fixes. How does it look? It's okay? Way more than just okay. It's literally perfect. The Liu Ruyan in front of me and the woman in the photo look at least 70% alike. Maybe this is what she was supposed to look like. While I've been working as Liu Ruyan's private chef, the dish I make her most often is sweet and sour ribs. It's been days. I don't even switch up the menu. I'm so good at making it now, it's second nature. I can get it done in half an hour tops. I feel so guilty taking the 100k RMB monthly salary, especially since every day when she gets home, she brings me something. Sometimes it's a watch, sometimes it's flowers, sometimes it's small antiques from auctions that are worth an absolute fortune. If I don't take them, she shoves them into my hand forcefully. After this went on for 2 whole weeks, I finally couldn't take it anymore, so I went to Liu Ruyan and said, I can actually make other dishes too, like steamed egg with shrimp, imperial tofu, braised hairtail, and stuff like that. Liu Ruyan was hunched over in the study dealing with paperwork. When she heard me, she looked up and glanced at me. If you really want to do something else, come with me to a banquet. I pointed at my own nose in shock. Me, Liu Ruyan nodded. I immediately frowned and said, I don't think I look appropriate for something like that. Liu Ruyan stood up right away, pulled me outside and said, Who says that? Everyone has a glamorous side. It just takes money to bring it out. Liu Ruyan took me to get a makeover and buy new clothes. I got a total glow up. I looked both handsome and trendy. I heard we're attending the 70th birthday party of Old Man Tong from a century-old Beijing elite family. I ran into Xiaojinian unexpectedly. The person next to Xiaojinian wasn't Jiboda. It was her younger brother Xia Zixuan. When Xia Zixuan saw me holding Liu Ruyan's arm, he looked like he was about to spit fire. Xiaojinian was even worse. She stared at me with a shocked look on her face. Exactly the same look I gave her when the Xia family came to pick her up, after she was exposed last time. Xia Zixuan didn't even bother pretending anymore. She said snarkily, Sister Yan, are you really ditching me? To be with a guy who sells barbecue? I'm way more noble than him. What can he even give you? Liu Ruyan smiled. You're 24, right? Up until now. Have you ever earned a single cent on your own? Is your so-called nobility just your family background? Xia Zixuan's face twisted in anger. Having a good family background is an advantage, right? Liu Ruyan nodded. Having a good family background is indeed an advantage, but that's no excuse to act like you're better than everyone else. Xia Zixuan was instantly speechless. Instead, Xiaojinian stared at me coldly and said, Tong Jingchen, no wonder you didn't come to apologize to me. You scored an even hotter, richer girlfriend, huh? But you probably don't know. She's had a ton of plastic surgery. She used to be a total ugly freak. Why would you willingly be with an ugly freak? Instead of begging me, I sneered. Because she doesn't treat me like a personal caretaker. Xiaojinian froze for a second, then scoffed. That's all you're good for. I nodded firmly, that's right. Yep, that's all I've got. Xiaojinian was so angry she ground her teeth. She almost crushed the wine glass in her hand. Xia Zixuan crossed his arms and said arrogantly, Tong Jingchen. Don't get cocky. As long as my sister can get on good terms with Old Man Tong's granddaughter today, our Xia family will be the richest in Beijing's elite circle. At that point, people who want to marry into our family will be lined up around the block, and you're not even fit to tie my sister's shoes. Xia Zixuan said this to both me and Liu Ruyan. Unexpectedly, Liu Ruyan burst out laughing. Xia Mingze is dead. The Xia family is in the hands of you two idiots. It's definitely going to go under. Xia Zixuan was fuming with rage. What do you mean by that? Liu Ruyan shrugged. Exactly what it sounds like. Then she ignored them completely and took me into the banquet hall. Then some socialites who knew Liu Ruyan came over to say hi to her. Everyone surrounded her and casually asked, Miss Liu, what's your relationship with this gentleman next to you? I thought Liu Ruyan would distance herself from me like Xia Jinian did, but she glanced at me. In front of everyone, linked her arm through mine openly. She's my first crush, and the girl I've been trying to ask out. Everyone covered their mouths and gasped, Oh my God, Miss Liu, is there really someone you can't win over? I asked her in a low voice. Since when have you been chasing me? Liu Ruyan gave me a helpless glance. It hit me all of a sudden. So all the stuff she brought me every day, and those super expensive little trinkets she gave me, were all her way of chasing me again. Just then, the birthday honoree, Old Man Tong, walked in. Liu Ruyan took me up to Old Man Tong to give our gift. Liu Ruyan picked out the gift, but I was the one who handed it to Old Man Tong in person. The moment Old Man Tong saw me, he looked a little dazed for some reason. The woman holding his arm beside him also stared at me with a weird look on her face. What's your name? What do your parents do for a living? I lifted my head and looked Old Man Tong in the eye. My name is Tong Jingchen. I have no parents. I'm an orphan. Old Man Tong's whole body jolted. Just then, Xia Zixuan stepped forward and said loudly, Grandpa Tong you probably don't know, right? He's an orphan. He used to sell grilled skewers at the night market. He only looks presentable now because he's hooked up with Sister Yan. As soon as he said that, everyone stared at me with weird looks, like I was a kept man who climbed the social ladder thanks to a woman. Liu Ruyan stepped forward immediately and stood firmly in front of me to shield me. Grandpa Tong, don't listen to Xia Zixuan's rubbish. Jingchen did sell grilled skewers at the night market, but he made all his money with his own ability. I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of, at all. Old Man Tong nodded in agreement, then asked someone to bring over a photo for me to see. It was a photo of a little boy around 4 or 5 years old. Do you know him? I froze on the spot. The person in the photo looked exactly like me as a kid. I have an old photo album at home that my grandma took photos for me in every year after she found me. She said she'd keep them as souvenirs for when I grew up. I realized what was going on in an instant. I looked up at Old Man Tong in disbelief. Old Man Tong said, He was my youngest grandson. He was abducted by human traffickers later. We spent a ton of effort looking for him, but never found a trace. When I saw you today, I somehow felt you looked exactly like him. As he got to the end of his sentence, Old Man Tong's voice was shaking. I couldn't help but speak up. That boy looks exactly like the photo of me when I was 5. Saying that, I pulled up the original photo I had saved on my phone to show Old Man Tong. Old Man Tong sucked in a sharp breath the second he saw it, but he didn't confirm my identity right away. Instead, he asked, Would you mind if I used a strand of your hair for a paternity test? I nodded my head. I also wanted to know if I still had any blood relatives left in this world. Old Man Tong plucked a strand of my hair and handed it to his assistant. Hurry, prioritize this test. The birthday feast turned into a family recognition feast. Everyone present had different expressions on their faces, especially Xia Jinian, who squeezed her wine glass so tight she looked more nervous than me. After a long while, Old Man Tong's phone rang. It was his assistant speaking in an overjoyed voice. Old sir, the test results are out. The biological relation between Mr. Tong Jingchen and the young Master Tong is as high as 99.9%. As soon as those words were spoken, Old Man Tong's phone clattered to the ground. The woman beside him also rushed over and hugged me, calling me little brother in a distressed voice. Xia Zixuan's face turned deathly pale. How is this possible? He's just a grilled skewer vendor. How can he be the Tong family's kidnapped youngest son? Sis, say something. What do we do now? The wine glass in Xia Jinian's hand shattered with a bang. Shards of glass cut her hand and made it bleed all over. The Tong family held a grand recognition ceremony for me, and also announced my engagement to Liu Ruyan. Who knew that the night before the engagement, Xia Jinian actually kidnapped me and took me away to the rooftop of the Xi Group's building. Xia Jinian took off my blindfold, held onto my legs, and looked up at me with a crazy expression on her face. Jingchen, don't marry Liu Ruyan. She already knew your real identity a long time ago. She only wants to marry you because she wants the benefits your identity can bring her. Otherwise, why would she take you to the banquet? Why would she personally push you in front of Old Man Tong? I laughed. If my identity can bring her benefits, I'm more than happy to let her have them. It's just like when you were my girlfriend. I was perfectly willing to provide for you. Shijinian froze for a long time and spoke in disbelief. You don't mind her loving you with ulterior motives? I retorted. Did you not have an ulterior motive when you chased me back then? That 300,000 yuan compensation money? Back in college, Xia Jinian thought dating me would save her a lot of hardship. It's a shame, though, even though I agreed to be her boyfriend, no matter how much she sweet-talked me. I never touched that money, no matter how hard things got. For me, this money is my grandma's lifeline. Xia Jinian collapsed onto the ground. Liu Ruyan arrived just in time with the police. Turns out after Xia Mingzi died, his mother knew old Master Xia would take Xia Jinian back. She refused to let the family fortune she and her husband had spent, their whole lives building, end up in an illegitimate daughter's hands. So she secretly short-sold the Xia Group, took all the money and fled abroad. As for Xia Zixuan, he was too stupid to work with her on her plans. She wanted to take him with her before she left. But he thought the Xia family still had billions in assets, and refused to go abroad with his mom to suffer no matter what. The Xia Group became an empty shell. After Xia Jinian came back, old Master Xia hoped she could revive the Xia Group, but she had never worked a single day after graduating. So she came up with the idea of marrying into the Tong family. After my real identity was exposed, her hope for this marriage alliance was completely crushed. Unwilling to accept this, she kidnapped me, hoping to expose Liu Ruyan's real intentions in front of me, so that I would change my mind. But my words hit her like a bolt of lightning. She refused to believe that I could love someone so unreservedly with my whole heart. But in a daze, she remembered that I had indeed loved her just as unreservedly before. She was just one step away from reviving the Xia Group. Overwhelming regret washed over her, making tears fall from her eyes. She finally seemed to realize what she had lost. When the police took her away, she kept saying, Jingchen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jingchen. It turned out what she lost was the bright star that had been shining on her ever since she was young. Liu Ruyan crouched down to untie the ropes on me and touched my face gently, her heart aching for me. Jingchen, I can explain. I didn't know your real identity from the very start. It was only after you told me your grandma passed away and that you were all alone in the world that I made up my mind to help you find your family, an hour before old Master Tong's birthday banquet. When you walked into the study, what I was holding in my hand was all your background information. I helped you find your family, not for my own benefit, but to find more people who would care for and love you. I pulled her tightly into my arms and kissed her between the eyebrows. I know all of it. If she had wanted a marriage alliance, after I left back then, she would have married Xia Zixuan long ago. After all, the Xia family was at the peak of its power back then. Why would she bother waiting for me? The reason I said those things earlier was just to break Xia Jinian's heart, who asked her to publicly call me just her caretaker before. For the rest of her life, she will live forever with guilt towards me. I bet every time she meets another man, she will secretly compare him to me. If that man can't love her as unreservedly as I did, she will definitely be trapped in endless self-doubt. She will never have a good life again for as long as she lives, and all grievances between her and me are now settled. On the day of our wedding, I wore a custom-made suit, accompanied by my loved ones. I walked step by step to meet my own happiness. At the end of the red carpet, dressed in a white wedding gown, the slim and graceful Liu Ruyan was looking at me with eyes full of love. At the same time, Xia Jinian's verdict was announced for her involvement in the kidnapping. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The wedding hall bells and the judge's gavel sounded at the exact same time. From that day on, I moved towards the warm sun, while she headed straight for hell.